rock roll.
But I'm a player and there's no more women riding for me. I avoided Maury, I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. There's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Waiting on this war, been my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in this war, been my whole life, my whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, they got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani. My wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home with changed features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her, they don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain, it's a shame. So I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Taha Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Light is in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. You can't, the streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on this war, been my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know life. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in this war, been my whole life, my whole life.
I got away with this shit.
If for more, right, that's good business. She look good, but hang with dumb bitches. Tell her I'm way too fly for sister. And then she leave a priest, I won't miss her. Won't put a ring around it. Oh, no, no, no. Bitches for the street like basketball goals. I always knew she'd let that lane hit her. Won't get a cent from me, I ain't simple. Bitch, now I ain't gonna work it out. out. You look scary out. Can't fuck that bitch right, cause she be getting nailed out. You won't forgive her, ain't it? You wanna love her, don't you? Just know that love ain't for you. It's for the world, homie. I got some real homies. We don't pretend, homie. ISUPK, 1 West, we kickin' field goals. Let that bitch lead, ho. She got them D's, though. With a little steak and ass pussy, she be going beast mode. She HIV, ho. You a dirty ass skeet, ho. Don't get that shit up out your chest, bitch. Say what you gonna do now, what you gonna say now, what you gonna do to me? It is UPK, I'm shot too deep, bitch, better Google me. I put these girls all in my training camp like I relieve. I say what I do and I do what I say, bitch, what the fuck you mean? If I'm Moors, right, that's good business. She look good but hang with dumb bitches. Tell her I'm way too fly for one sister. And if she leave a priest, I won't miss her. Won't put a ring around it, oh, no. Bitches for the street like basketball goes. I always knew she'd let that lane hit her. Won't get a cent from me, I ain't simple, bitch. Now I ain't gon' work it out. I ain't regular out. Now I ain't gon' work it out. I ain't regular out. You a civilian out. Nah, failure out. I ain't gon' work it out, cause I ain't regular out. I get paper, bro. Got my standards up. You a munchkin out. Catch your knees out. Check my flagrant out. I'm a player out. These niggas top block. Take your lead out. You shouldn't be worried about these broke ass bitches. And don't compare yourself to simp ass niggas. Had to shine a lot of these desperate ass women. Cause they be tripping hard, acting like they different. But a bit be basic, bit be horn and bit be naked. Faking, stankin', and shame is dirty. My bit be vaping. I don't get too fucks about you. I wouldn't have put no baby in you. Bit be saying they got that paper, look, that net be itch. Done caught the penalty, and my energy got me feeling me. Ice hitting on them, these diamond teeth that's into me. And I'm getting right, and I'm stacking up, and I'm getting to it. And these niggas hate, but they can't touch, cause I'm bulletproof. If I'm Moors, right, that's good business. She look good, but hang with dumb bitches. Tell her I'm way too fly for one sister. And if she leave a piece, I won't miss her. Won't put a ring around it, oh, no. Bitches for the street like basketball goes. I always knew she'd let that lane hit her. Won't get a cent from me, I ain't simple, bitch. Now I ain't gon' work it out. I ain't regular out. Now I ain't gon' work it out. I ain't regular out. You a civilian out. Nah, failure out. I ain't gon' work it out, cause I ain't regular out.
Shalom. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakathon to the brothers watching. Yahweh Shemalathon Bashem Yahushua to the sisters watching. This is the ISUPK started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, man, we've been teaching that so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indians are the chosen people of God. And our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Now you tuned in. Priest, officer of the 1,000, Howard Moore, ISUPK, Kentucky, man. Under Commander General Yohana. And this is our Monday night history class. Now, Salaki, if we're getting started a little bit late, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are live. We are live on the UPK, Kentucky, man. So before we get started, I want to invite every so-called Black, Hispanic, and North American Indian to tune in to our weekly content. All right, Monday night, of course, you got the history class, 9 p.m., Lord willing. Tuesday night, you got the Brotherhood class, 7 p.m., taught by Officer of 1,000, I'm a Wonga boy. And Wednesday night, man, you got the podcast, the baddest podcast in Kentucky, only Kentucky podcast you need to pay attention to. All right, Cry Out, Spare Not podcast hosted by Officers of 1,000, I'm a Wonga boy, and ISUPK. And coming here to biblical breakdowns, coming here to biblical solutions to all the viral videos going across the internet. And then Saturday morning, we got the Sabbath service. All right, so Monday night history class, Tuesday night brotherhood class, Wednesday night the podcast, Saturday morning Sabbath service. Now tonight, man, as usual, we got a straight drop for y'all. All right, as usual, we got straight drop for y'all. All right, y'all can only get this. Y'all can only get this kind of drop in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any Hebrew Israelite group. If it's not One West, if it's not UPK, if it's not Commanding General Yohana, then you just not in the truth. All right, you just not in the truth. All right, you just not. So this is drop you can only get here, all right, in the UPK under Commanding General Yohana, man. Topic of tonight's class: what was the indigenous role in slave uprisings, and who was Nat Turner? All right, what was the indigenous role in slave uprisings, and who was Nat Turner? Now, it's important. This is an important topic because for two reasons. Number one, the indigenous role in anything is usually left out the story. All right, the indigenous role is usually left out of the story. All right, but you got a brother in the UPK, man, right here in Louisville, Kentucky, right here on the West End, that's going to keep standing on this indigenous business, man. So that's reason number one. That's reason number one. Reason number two is, if you're unfamiliar, this is the time of year. This is the time of year for Nat Turner. All right. His uprising started in late August. According to the story, he went into hiding September and October. And we finna get the whole story on that too. And he was tried and lynched in November. All right, so this is the time of year for the story of Nat Turner to be told. All right, this story is absolutely in season right now. All right, so what was the indigenous role in slave uprisings, and who was Nat Turner? So we're going to talk about a few different slave revolts today, a few different slave rebellions, a few different uprisings. We're going to talk a little bit about the Haitian Revolution. We're going to talk a little bit about Harriet Tubman. We're going to talk a little bit about the Gullah Wars. But the main topic that we're going to get into is who was Nat Turner. All right. And again, as usual, the indigenous role is left out of the story. But I'm going to help y'all out with that tonight. All right. Again, this is a drop you can only get in the UPK and the Commanding General Yohana. Let's work. All right. When I'm talking about the indigenous people, all right, I'm not talking about your $5 Indians. I'm not talking about white tea people like John Ross, who started the modern Cherokee government. I'm not talking about descendants of Siberians. I'm not talking about descendants of the Filipino slave trade, the Chino slave trade. I'm talking about the actual indigenous people. All right, so I'm going to give y'all a backdrop real quick. All right, this is Giovanni Verrazzano, 1524. He said the complexion of the Indians is black, not much different from that of Ethiopians. All right, first census 1790 only had 3 racial categories: free whites, all other free persons, and slaves. The all other free persons included a subset of American Indians who lived under U.S. jurisdiction. All right, 1820 census renamed all other free persons category to free colored persons. The census instructions provided no guidance on how American Indians living under U.S. jurisdiction would be counted. Now, that's going to be important when we get into the family of Nat Turner. So again, when I'm talking about the indigenous people of the Americas, I'm talking about the actual indigenous people. I'm not talking about $5 Indians. I'm not talking about people like YT people like John Ross, who created the modern Cherokee government. I'm not talking about the descendants of Siberians or the descendants of Chinese mestizos, Filipinos, people that came here through the coolie slave trade. I'm talking about the actual indigenous people of the Americas. What was the role in these slave revolts? All right, source, nature knows no color lines. Indians and Negroes have mixed so freely over the centuries that in certain states, as Virginia, an Indian is only one while on the reservation. Away from it, he is a Negro. Now, this is going to be important because Nat Turner's family was from Virginia. All right, Indians and Negroes have mixed so freely over the centuries that in certain states, as Virginia, an Indian is only one while on a reservation. Away from it, he is a Negro. Source, J.A. Rogers, nature knows no color line. All right. Now, the first rebellion against enslavement in the Americas and the first collective action of both Black and Tainos took place Christmas Day, 1521, just outside the Spanish colonial seat, Santo Domingo, when 20 enslaved people destroyed a sugar plantation. In the following decades, Black and indigenous Maroons ventured across the island on horseback, raiding and destroying Spanish sugar plantations. In the 1540s, planters complained they could not go outside the city limits without arms, as Maroons had begun staking claim to the countryside. Maroons had migrated north to what later became part of the French territory. In the 16th century, they had established their own trading circuits with other Maroons, enslaved ranchers, and Spanish settlers, raised livestock, and organized farming. By 1548, 2/3 of the island's 30 sugar plantations had been destroyed by Maroons, who possibly numbered as many as 7,000 throughout the island in locales not under direct control of the Spanish. A century later, the Spanish eventually ceded western parts of the islands to the French. However, it was the Black and indigenous assaults on plantations that dealt a serious blow to the emerging sugar industry that would soon be nearly abandoned. So, it was Black and indigenous people through revolts on the island that would later become Haiti and DR. It were these Black and indigenous revolts that put an end to the sugar plantation industry. All right, again, tonight is the indigenous role on slave revolts and who was Nat Turner. So now when we're talking about Haiti, all right, there was a group called the Indigenous Army. All right? The Indigenous Army was the name given to a coalition of anti-slavery men and women who fought in the Haitian Revolution. Encompassing both enslaved and free, they were officially titled the Indigenous Army, January 1803, under the leadership of Dessalines. All right, a little bit of Haitian history. All right, there was a group called the Indigenous Army. All right. Harriet Tubman. Again, I said we're going to talk a little bit about the Haitian Revolution, a little bit about Harriet Tubman. All right, a little bit about the Stono Revolt, just to kind of give you a backdrop on how Black and indigenous people always worked together all the way back in the 1500s to overthrow colonization or to fight back against colonization. All right, so here's Harriet Tubman's Underground Railroad. All right, from Delaware all the way up through Philadelphia, all the way up to Pennsylvania, Delaware, Jersey, New York. Now they try to tell us, all right, modern historians try to give us this African narrative. They try to say her father was African or her grandfather was from West Africa. But we got her second great grandfather on her paternal side, Anthony Thompson. He was born in Maryland in 1644. All right, Harriet Tubman's second great-grandfather, her paternal second great-grandfather, Anthony Thompson, born 1644 in Maryland. All right, evidence point to Black American individuals, families, and even larger parties who sought and received the assistance of indigenous people while traveling in the hopes of reaching free territories. All right, received the assistance of indigenous people while traveling in the hopes of reaching free territories. Thus far, discoveries of written and oral evidence of such activity predominate in the Midwest and Great Lakes region, as recent research by historian Roy Finkelbein has underscored. As Black Americans seeking to cross the Ohio River and then the Canadian border from various points were moving through territory still occupied and controlled by indigenous people like the Tuscarora. An important example of Black and Indian cooperation was the Indian-operated Underground Railroad. All right, have you ever heard of such a thing called the Indian-operated Underground Railroad? All right, again, have you ever heard such a thing as the Indian-operated Underground Railroad? Again, all the way through our American educational system, all right, the story of America's indigenous people is always left out the story. The only time America's indigenous people are actually talked about is the fake story they give us for Thanksgiving. The only story where the American Indian is present is the fake Thanksgiving story we're given in school. But have you ever heard about the Indian-operated Underground Railroad? All right, indigenous American assistance to freedom seekers crossing through the Midwest or seeking sanctuary in Indian villages in the region has largely been erased from Underground Railroad studies. There's a concerned effort. There is a concerned effort to just push the story under the rug. There's a concerned effort by the U.S. government to get rid of these indigenous stories. All right, there's one reason for the absence of indigenous Americans in the history of the Underground Railroad. Local histories include the large volume of county histories produced across the Midwest in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Start the clock with white settlement, ignoring indigenous American contributions, and generally and particularly those after the War of 1812. In fact, most of these histories make it seem as if indigenous people disappeared from the lower Midwest by the end of the War of 1812. Investigations of county histories from nearly 24 counties in Ohio and the area where American Indians were the primary population group until the 1830s shows that they were largely excluded from its later history. When the Underground Railroad is mentioned, it consists of white settlers aiding anonymous freedom seekers and is completely a post-settlement phenomenon of the 1840s and 1850s. All right. Somehow pushing this narrative that enslaved people don't have a history, pushing this nonsense that enslaved people have no history, and pushing this nonsense that we actually have white allies. Pushing a history that freedmen do not have a history, and pushing a narrative that we actually have white allies. As a result, the interaction of freedom seekers and American Indian communities across the Midwest has been obscured. All right, the objective of this project is to trace the routes used by indigenous people and Black Americans as they engaged in self-liberation in North Carolina and Virginia. And again, Virginia is going to be important when we get to the story of and the family of Nat Turner. All right, this is going to be, and it says self-liberation. All right, there's another myth in American history that white folks gave us our freedom. All right, white folks never gave us our freedom. All right, Black and Indigenous people, we fought for everything that we have in this place. All right, Black and Indigenous people have fought for everything that we have in this place. All right, that's why it says self-liberation. And again, Virginia is going to be important when we talk about the family of Nat Turner. All right, the project provides a starting point for access to information focused on the role of North Carolina and Virginia tribes in assisting enslaved Black American freedom seekers in escaping on the Underground Railroad. The earliest mention of the Underground Railroad was 1831, and American Indians were assisting enslaved people in escaping to freedom before the network was even created. So again, we're talking about the role that Indigenous people played in slave uprisings, all right, all the way back to the 1500s when enslaved people and Taino Indians fought the French together. All right, all the way up to the Underground Railroad, and you see Black and Indigenous people fighting against slavery in Ohio, fighting against slavery in the Carolinas, fighting against slavery in Virginia. All right, this project recognizes how Indigenous people were helpers who gave sanctuary to runaway enslaved people prior to the existence of the Underground Railroad, and during its existence, source uncovering tribal connections to the Underground Railroad. All right, everything I put up on the screen, you can go look it up yourself. All right, everything I put up on the screen, you can go look it up yourself. All right, this isn't meme scholarship. All right, this isn't TikTok, Facebook scholarship. All right, you can actually go and look this up yourself. All right, source uncovering tribal connections to the Underground Railroad. Let's work. All right, Stono Rebellion was a slave revolt. All right, September 1739 in South Carolina. It was the largest slave rebellion in the colonial period. The Stono Indians referred to an American Indian tribe that historically inhabited the area around the Stono River in South Carolina. All right, former slaves and the remnants of the most resistant tribes, the Creek, the Yamasee, Stono, Uchi, and the Miccosukee Indians became known as the Seminoles. All right, it says former enslaved people, all right, people escaping slavery in South Carolina. All right, people escaping slavery in South Carolina joined with resistant tribes, the Creek, the Yamasee, Stono, Uchi, and Miccosukee Indians, all banded together and became known as the Seminoles. All right, so that's why I don't like the term Black Seminole. All right, there's no such thing as a Black Seminole. All right, people escaping slavery in South Carolina joined up with Indians in the South that were fighting against U.S. expansion. All right, fighting against the expansion of the 13 colonies. And all of these people came, all of these people came together collectively to be known as the Seminole. All right, the idea of some Black Seminole, as if that's something different from a so-called regular Seminole, that's something that came later. All right, that's something that came after the Curtis Act. All right, look it up. Look up the Curtis Act, and what that did was to take away Indigenous sovereignty from so-called Black tribesmen. All right, Curtis Act is what pretty much kicked out so-called Black Indians from these tribes. But according to this source, formerly enslaved people hooked up with resistant tribes, people that fought against the expansion of the 13 colonies, people that fought against the expansion of the U.S., joined together and became known as the Seminole. All right, the battle they strategized to lead is called the Stono Rebellion. which launched the Gullah Wars. The Gullah Wars is a term sometimes used to refer to the Seminole Wars, specifically highlighted the significant role of escaped slaves in South Carolina who spoke Gullah that fought against the U.S. military in these conflicts. So again, escaped slaves out of South Carolina hooked up with Indians in the South who were fighting against the expansion of the U.S., fighting against the expansion of 13 colonies. They all hooked up together and became known as the Seminole. All right? And these people collectively fought in the Seminole Wars against Andrew Jackson, fought against the United States Army. All right, let's work. So again, showing the coalition between Black and Indigenous people. All right, the coalition of Black and Indigenous people that fought against colonization, that fought against slavery, all the way back from the 1500s. And now we finna get into Nat Turner. All right, Nat Turner's insurrection. All right, now we're gonna start off with the traditional story. All right, the story we're all told about Nat Turner. And then I'm finna give you the real. All right, Southampton insurrection was a slave rebellion that took place in Southampton, Virginia, August 1831. Led by Nat Turner, born Thomas Woodson. We finna get to that in a minute. All right, his men killed 65 slave owners, making it the biggest slave revolt in U.S. history. The slave rebellion ended at Belmont Plantation, August 23rd, but Turner went into hiding for the next 10 weeks for the purpose of gathering intelligence. Source: Confessions of Nat Turner. All right, February 1831. Turner interpreted atmospheric conditions as signs to prepare for a revolt. Solar eclipse on February 12th was visible in Virginia and much of the southeastern United States. August 13th, an atmospheric disturbance made Virginia's sun appear bluish-green, and Turner took this as a sign from God and started the rebellion a week later, August 21st. Now, again, this is important because we are in the season of Nat Turner. All right, during this time period, it was said he was hiding out, but we're actually going to find out why he chose the place he chose. All right, Turner's slave owner and his family were first to be killed. Over the next 48 hours, Turner's men traveled from house to house, freeing slaves and killing slave owners. All right, 1831. All right, early hours of August 22nd, 1831, an enslaved man named Nat Turner led more than 50 followers in a revolt in Southampton, killing nearly 60 white people. The local authorities stopped the uprising. They captured and killed most of the insurgents, although Turner himself managed to avoid capture for 60 days. Even though Turner and his followers had been stopped, panic spread across the region. In the days following the attack, 3,000 soldiers, militiamen, and vigilantes killed more than 100 suspected rebels. 19 of the 30 who had been arrested were convicted and executed. The rest, along with 300 free blacks from Southampton County, agreed to be exiled to Liberia, and Turner was hanged November 11, 1831. Now, he was hanged November 11, 1831. And again, we're in the season of Nat Turner. And during this time we're in right now, in October, it was said he was in hiding. And we're finna find out why he chose the place he chose to hide out. It was not a random spot he chose to hide in. All right, Nat Turner's rebellion led to the passage of a series of new laws. The Virginia legislature actually debated ending slavery, but chose instead to impose additional restrictions and harsher penalties on the activities of both enslaved and free Black Americans. Other slaveholder states followed suit, restricting the rights of free and enslaved people to gather in groups, travel, and preach. And this was important because Nat Turner got his inspiration from the Bible. All right, Nat Turner didn't get his inspiration from no damn Quran. Nat Turner didn't get his inspiration from some Egyptian or some other African mumbo jumbo. All right, Nat Turner got his inspiration from the Bible. All right, let's work. Let's get into the real story of Nat Turner. All right, let's get into who was Nat Turner. All right, Reclaiming Black Faces, students at Somerville High produced a mini documentary. Here was the reason. When we're given images of Nat Turner, we're actually being given images of Frederick Douglass. If you look, it says Nat Turner, born October 2nd, 1800, Southampton County, Virginia, died November 11th, 1831, Jerusalem, Virginia. Then on the right, it says Frederick Douglass, Syracuse, New York, born 1843. They're the same goddamn person. Why would historians try to give us the same image for Frederick Douglass as they would Nat Turner? Why? Why would they give us the same image for Frederick Douglass as they do for Nat Turner? Now, the bullshit they try to give us is because, well, there was no photography in the time of Nat Turner. Okay, I'll give you that. But that's not a photo on the left. That's a drawing. They gave us a drawing of Frederick Douglass and try to pass it off as Nat Turner. Now, why would they do that? Why would they do that? What are they trying to hide? I'm finna show you. All right. This is a family tree of Nat Turner. All right. Nat Turner's father, Thomas and Nancy Turner, and his grandparents, his paternal grandparents, Thomas Woodson and Edith Turner. Now, I showed you earlier that Nat Turner was born Thomas Woodson. All right, Thomas, he was named after his grandfather. All right, so his parents, Thomas and Nancy Turner, his grandparents, Thomas Woodson and Edith Turner. Let's work. All right, Thomas Turner and Nancy Turner had the following children. Mary Woodson Turner, born 1790, Southampton, Virginia. She married Pearson Turner in Southampton County, Virginia. He was born in Luke's Parish, Southampton, Virginia. Mary Woodson Turner was also known as Polly Turner. She was a what? She was an Iroquois, Nottoway Indian, raised by Edith Turner, Queen of the Nottoway Indians. Edith Turner, again, being the grandmother, the paternal grandmother of Nat Turner. All right, Henry Turner, born 1792, Southampton County, Virginia. And the famous slave Nat Turner, born Thomas Woodson Jr. Source, ethno-historic surnames on the Nottoway Indian tribe, Southampton County official tribal records. So again, going back to the family of Nat Turner, we just read Thomas Turner and Nancy Turner. The three children named were Mary Turner, Henry Turner, and Nat Turner. We read that Mary Turner was raised by her grandmother Edith, and Edith was known as the Queen of the Nottoway Indians. Let's take a step further. Now let's go to the grandparents. All right, these are the paternal grandparents of Nat Turner. All right, Thomas Woodson. If you look right here on the left, all right, that is a symbol of the Nottoway Indians in Southampton County, Virginia. So this is the paternal grandfather. And here is the paternal grandmother of Nat Turner. And here's that same symbol. Here's that same Nottoway symbol. All right, Edith Turner, Renaissance woman of the 19th century, Southampton County, referred to as queen or chief. All right, Edith Turner. Again, this is the grandmother, paternal grandmother of Nat Turner. All right, Edith Turner, her employment, Edith Turner, 54 years old, her employments are knitting, sewing, and what is usual in common housewifery. 34 acres. She had 2 hires for her last year by the trustees and this year by her husband. The family consists of herself, Polly, who we just read about, and John Woodson, who allowances are paid to her for their maintenance. All right, 1819, a marriage license between Edith Turner and William Green lists them as free persons of color. Now, way back at the beginning of class, we read about indigenous people being referred to in the early U.S. Census. All right, the very first U.S. Census, 1790. And we also read about the 1820 federal census where indigenous people were called free persons of color on the census. All right, 1820, she is dubbed as queen of the Nottoway Indian tribe, Southampton County, Virginia. All right, the most obvious and sensitive issue is the desperate consideration of racial intermarriage and tribal identification. The Nottoway were described by William Byrd as people of mahogany skin or the copper-colored ones of Nottoway Town, long before any extensive intermarriage with either Europeans or Africans. Upon first contact with colonial settlers, traders, and land speculators, Nottoway were a dark-skinned tribe. Over time, the Nottoway, like other Virginia tribes, have either intermarried with Europeans or Black Americans. In the aftermath of the Nat Turner Rebellion in Southampton County, all dark-skinned inhabitants of Virginia, particularly free people of color, were terrorized. Thus, free Indians and free Negroes were treated the same. It is not coincidental that the sell-off of 40,000 plus acres of Nottoway land began in the late 1700s, soon after the threat to Anglo settlers from Western and Northern India subsided and accelerated after 1800 when the slave population became more resistant. This is how Nat Turner's family's land was lost to Anglo settlers. And this is how Nat Turner's family's land was lost to white slave owners and white plantation owners. All right. That's why I referred to Nat Turner as the famous slave. All right. Nat Turner was enslaved on land that his grandmother lost, on land that his grandfather lost. All right. Nat Turner was enslaved on land that his grandparents lost to white invaders, to white settlers and white plantation owners. All right, once the communal tribal land was divided, the Nottoway were transformed under Virginia law into free blacks. As a result, the Indians did not rush as a group to apply for their shares. Instead, the process of parceling out the land lasted for several more years. 1878, the children of Edwin Turner, 1878, the children of Edwin Turner, heir to Edith Turner, made their last recorded application for 575 acres. And we're going to see that the last bit of the land they owned, that's where Nat Turner hid out. He hid out on what little they had left. All right, what little they had left that was left to Edwin Turner. All right, 75 years later, 1953, Turner descendants sold their life interest in some of the inherited land. We're going to get into who those descendants are. All right, here's Southampton, Virginia. We actually have descendants of Nat Turner right here. All right, No matter how dark or bright some moments are, history teaches us all important lessons. Take, for example, Alvin Turner and Evelyn Hawkins. They are descendants of Nat Turner and have inherited 2 farms in the family. Evelyn Hawkins has strong memories of that cave because her grandfather, Sidney Turner, often took her on Salakia. All right, Salakia. They are descendants of Nat Turner and have inherited 2 farms in the family. Evelyn Hawkins has strong memories of that cave because her grandfather, Sidney Turner, often took her and his other 12 grandchildren across the farm to the famous site. Again, Nat Turner hid in what was left of his family's land. She says it wasn't as much as a cave as it was a hole that Nat Turner appeared to have dug with the sword. Evelyn Hawkins and her cousins are all tightly knit, and she was raised by her grandparents, Sidney and Corinne Turner, until she was 12. The farm is their lifeblood. It is what their family knows. All right, again, that place that Nat Turner hid wasn't just a random spot. All right, that place that Nat Turner hid was what was left, what little they had left after losing 40,000 acres to white slave owners. What little they had left, that's what Nat Turner hid. All right, here's Evelyn Hawkins. This is who we just read about. All right, Sister Evelyn Hawkins, who used to visit the cave that Nat Turner hid in when she was a child. All right, Evelyn Hawkins is the granddaughter of Corinne Turner. Now on the left, this is Corinne Turner's father, James Turner. 1870, federal census, James Turner, born 1853. And if you look where it says race, it says Indian, in parentheses, Native American. All right. This is the family of Nat Turner. All right. Nat Turner and his family are Nottoway Indians from Southampton County, Virginia. All right. Evelyn Hawkins, granddaughter of Corinne Turner. On the left, you have Corinne Turner's father, James Turner, born 1853. Where it says race, it says Indian. All right, Nat Turner was an American Indian, a Nottoway Indian from Southampton County, Virginia. And this is the story that's been hid from us. This is the story that's been hid from the general public. Again, the indigenous story is always being left out. But again, you got a brother here in Kentucky, man, that's going to stand on this indigenous business and going to continue to bring out the truth that's being hid from us. All right, Nat Turner was an American Indian, was a Nottoway Indian, Southampton County, Virginia. All right, and his grandmother, Edith Turner, was known as the queen of the Nottoway Indians. All right, and you've got some more of Nat Turner's family that's alive today. This is Chief Walt Brown. All right, here's Chief Walt Brown. He is the 5th great-grandson of Nottoway Indian Tribe's queen, Edith Turner, who married William Green, 1819, both of whom were listed as free persons of color on their marriage license. All right, this is the 5th great-grandson of Edith Turner, which is the paternal grandmother of Nat Turner. All right. The people are who carry the history. All right. The people are who carry the history. All right. If you can't put yourself in the story, if you don't know where you fit in the story, just keep your mouth shut. All right. If you don't know where you fit in the story, just keep your damn mouth shut. All right, let's drop that. Let's go into the Bible. going to go into the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 19. Say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. All right, so it's talking about the hand of Ephraim. Ephraim is the head tribe of the northern kingdom. All right, Ephraim today would be known as so-called Puerto Ricans, which is why I mentioned the stories about enslaved people and the Taino Indians that fought together to fight the French and fight the Spanish. All right, the tribe of Ephraim today would be your Taino Indians or your Puerto Ricans. All right, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah. Now, the stick of Judah, which is the southern kingdom, all right, these people would have been the enslaved people that were fighting right alongside the Taino Indians. All right, fighting alongside who we would call Puerto Ricans today, who fought against the French together, who fought against the Spanish together. All right, these would be your enslaved people in the old 13 colonies who roll with indigenous people, who rock with indigenous people on the Underground Railroad, which was also called the Indian Underground Railroad. All right, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. All right, the Lord is going to join together Black and indigenous people. All right, the Lord is going to join together so-called Black and so-called indigenous people, and they're going to be one in the hand of the Lord. All right, verse 20. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. So we're going to notice that we're the same people. We're going to notice that we're the same people. That's why I read at the beginning, when I read from J.A. Rogers about how marriages between Black and indigenous people have existed since the beginning of colonization. And we also read that there was so much intermixing going on between Black and indigenous people that a person could be Indian on the reservation and Black everywhere else, because we're the same family. All right, we're the same family, same race of people. All right, verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. All right, we're not going to get out of captivity without each other. All right, Black and indigenous people, we're not going to get out of captivity without the other. All right, Black folks are not going to get out of captivity without the Mexicans. The Mexicans aren't going to get out of captivity without the Puerto Ricans. The Puerto Ricans aren't going to get out of captivity without the Seminole. All right, it says, and I will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. And verse 22, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all, and there shall no more be two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. All right, that one king, of course, is going to be Christ. That one king is going to be Christ. And there shall be no more two nations. All right, no more. There's not going to be any more need to say Black and brown unity. There's not going to be any more need to say Black and brown unity because these two nations aren't going to be divided anymore. These two nations are going to be one nation. All right, so let's drop that. Let's drop that. All right, I appreciate y'all coming out, rocking with me, man. Appreciate y'all soaking up some of this game with me. All right, again, this is game. This is drop. You can't get nowhere else besides the ISUPK and the Commander General. All right, so I appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Appreciate y'all tuning in. All right, again, every Monday, Lord willing, 9 p.m., Monday night history class. Again, come soak this game up. Again, this is game. This is drop. You can't get nowhere else besides the UPK under Commander General Hunter. All right, Tuesday night Brotherhood class, 7 p.m., taught by Officer of 1,000, Amawanga Bar. And come and get these biblical precepts, man. Come and get these precepts. All right, come and get these precepts. Then, of course, Wednesday night podcast, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., hosted by Officers of 1,000, Amawanga Bar, ISUPK. And we're going to get all of the biblical breakdowns of all the viral videos going across the internet. Anything viral that you see, anything going across your timeline is going to get broken down biblically by these two priests of the Lord in the UPK and the Commander General Hunter. And of course, every Saturday we got Sabbath service. All right, Lord willing. All right, with that, we'll do one courtesy salute. Shalom. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatham Yahweh Shemalatham Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. Class is dismissed.
You go out and about, you got there drinking with your brothers and that shit, and you about out here, but don't be caught lacking and don't kill your brother off some bullshit, man. Don't hurt your people, man. This is for protection only, man. I got family out this bitch, man. I got brothers out this bitch I gotta protect. Somebody trying to run up on us. We lacking, what we gonna do? Fight a nigga with a machine gun? Now we're gonna bust your ass. We'll cut your head out and bring it back to the Lord, man. UPK shit, man. Hey, fam. Much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock, I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up, come and flash a girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me. I pull up with lines. I'm a judo with a nigga pride, I'm just like a lion. My woman cook, clean, fuck, and shut the fuck up, yeah. I got bigger problems to worry about than you in adultery. But shit, you know you ain't going nowhere. Hey, taking my move with the bass. Try to walk to the place. Ice on me, come and skate. You really a hoe wanna escape. Yeah, we up, face to face. Or outwork me, what you think? Pretty girl, good taste. Wanna know all my traits. You know I'm on attention. I'm James Brown to the Israel. Bullets long, yeah, extensions. The nigga hate what they mention. Y'all pull up how I'm gifted. I'm Mike Jacks with a fist. Beat it like I'm Thriller. She say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence. Say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman and say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing. I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better with me, yeah. Girl, you know you look better with me. How I pull up and then shock. I do my dance on them, what the fuck? How I judge, run it up. Come and flash a girl, boy, stop, bitch. Okay, you know you look better with me, bitch, you basic. If you don't want a South Coast nigga, you chasing ranking. You ain't even damn exquisite, and bitch, you faking. Wanna rush a dog sick nigga, and the picture I painted. And I mean, everywhere I say T, might give you some flavor. But I guess you ain't even wanna take it, bitch, you outdated. And you done gave it up for some paper, you just like your main man. Start with 3 down, baby, that is spit what you thinking. shit, cause you don't even know how they say I'm obnoxious. Say I got way too much confidence, say it's a problem. All I do is try to pull a woman, they say I'm a monster. But really, it ain't nothing, I'm just like my brothers. But shit, you know you look better